channel and welcome to another Cafe Thursday, where today we will be making Puerto Rican Boricua style lasagna. So here we're going to start off with some of our fresh ingredients. We have a pound of ground beef, a half of a large onion diced, 2 cloves of garlic minced, tomato paste, sofrito, olives, spaghetti sauce, and of course the star of the show, the ripe plantains, or as we call them, maduros. So when you see the maduros, they are going to be blackened, and a lot of people freak out and think that they're spoiled, but that is actually exactly how you need them. Nice, sweet, and ready to be sliced. So first we're going to take those plantains, and you see the skin does appear to be black. They are not at all spoiled on the inside. They're actually perfect. We're going to cut off the ends, and then we are going to slice off the skin of the plantain. And you're going to find it's going to come right off, because when they're ripe like this, it's so much easier to peel. The green plantains, I mean, it's a struggle. We know, those of you guys that have tried to take the skin off, you have to literally use a knife. So we're going to half the plantain because it is large, and we're going to cut them into about a 1/5 to a 1/6 slice. And we want to do that because we don't want it to fall apart when we fry it, because we do have to pre-fry it on each side. And you'll see the size right there. That's perfect. And what it's going to do is it's going to be your lasagna sheet. It's going to take the place of the pasta so that no pasta has to be in the recipe. It's healthy, it's great, trust me. The sweet, savory tastes in there, you're gonna love it. And here is a plate full of our sliced plantains. So now that we have our plantains ready, we're gonna set them aside, and we are going to turn our attention to the meat. So we have our ingredients here, plus a couple extra. You're gonna need 2 packets of Pastelon, and you're going to need a tablespoon of Italian dressing. So we're gonna start off with our pan preheated with 1 tablespoon of olive oil in it. Get that all around, and we're gonna break up our ground beef inside of the pan. And the olive oil will keep that ground beef from sticking, because I really do use the low fat 90% and 10% blend ground beef, and sometimes that kind of tends to stick a little bit to the pan. And plus I kind of like the little bit of taste that olive oil, light olive oil, gives to the meat. So we're going to use that, break that up, and then we're going to pick up our, of course, what do we always use? I'm Puerto Rican, sazon with culantro and achote. So we're gonna take that packet and we're gonna sprinkle it on there to start seasoning that meat up. Because even though it is a pasta dish and you do want it to have like an Italian kind of flair, it is also a Puerto Rican dish. So we're gonna add what we use when we're normally making Puerto Rican food. So we're, like I said, Italian, yes. So we're gonna put 1 big tablespoon of that Italian dressing, Italian seasoning, I should say, which of course has like oregano and basil, thyme, little parsley. We're gonna add in that onion earlier that we minced up. The flavors really marry well. Onion and garlic already have their place in Italian cooking, as we all know, but they also have their place in Spanish cooking. And to make this still taste exactly authentically Boricua, we're gonna put in that sofrito, because you and I know that that really is what makes it give that Caribbean taste. So we're gonna mix that all up, and we want that ground beef to cook down to brown really nicely. You want it fully cooked when we layer our lasagna. Now that we've got that all nice and mixed up, we are going to put, a second packet of the sazon. And remember, they do have a low salt option, so make sure you get that, because I'm always worried about Eric's blood pressure, so you want to make sure you do too. Now that we see it's starting to cook down very nicely and it's almost done, but not quite. So now we're gonna add in the garlic because as always, garlic cooks really quickly and you don't want it to burn inside of there. Worst taste in the world, burnt garlic, trust me. And we're also going to take and we're gonna add in our minced olives. So we had the olives whole before, but we do not put them in there whole. You wanna mince them up really nicely. Love the taste of the olive and pimento. It really gives it kind of a Caribbean taste. Puerto Ricans know, and Dominicans, we all love our olives. So now we're gonna add in our tomato paste because we just want that to all really bind and thicken. Now normally you would just add the spaghetti sauce, you know, like a whole can when you're making the lasagna at home or whatever whatever sauce you use. But here you want it a little thicker. So this tomato paste is gonna give a nice flavor to the meat, but it's also gonna bind that meat together. And this is what the finished product looks like. It's cooked, it has the paste all through it. It is beautiful. So now that it's cooked down, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that spaghetti sauce and we're gonna add in 1/2 of the jar. Now this is where I have to pause for smell-o-vision. Oh man, this is what this should look like, the consistency that it should have after you've added that spaghetti sauce. And if you could smell this kitchen right now, wow. So we're gonna put it inside of a bowl and we're gonna place this in the refrigerator because I need this chilled when I layer my lasagna. But we are not done with that pan nor that oil, so we are gonna put in some canola oil and we are gonna fry up these plantains. So we cut them in about 1/5 to 1/6 inch slices. We're now gonna fry each side nice and golden brown. We are not gonna overcook them, we're not gonna undercook them, but we do need them to start the cooking process and then they're just gonna finish up in the lasagna. They should be almost completely cooked before we place them in the lasagna. And it's very similar. When you're making lasagna, you do cook your pasta sheets or buy pre-cooked pasta sheets before you make your lasagna. No different here. So once they're brown on the one side, we're going to flip them over and we're going to fry them a little bit more on the other side. Okay, so now we are done frying. That is exactly how you want them to look, perfectly brown, yum, yum. We're gonna take them out, put them to drain on a paper towel because we need them nice and drained, no grease in our lasagna. Meanwhile, we're gonna take the ricotta while those are draining and we're gonna put 2 tablespoons of that Italian seasoning inside of that container. We're gonna mix that up really good and then that's just gonna add more Italian goodness with that seasoning in there, the parsley, the basil, the oregano into our lasagna. So now we're going to use a pan from our air fryer / baking / grill and we're going to layer that up. We're going to put our plantain slices down just like you would have done pasta slices first and then we're going to layer it from there. And we're doing it in the air fryer because we can do it for half the time and a lot less heat. So I chose this little pan and in the end it will make 2 pans full. They are very thick. I mean literally each one probably weighs about 1.5 pounds when you're done with all this. You're gonna put the ricotta nice in there. We're gonna mat it out, make a nice even layer of ricotta over our plantains. Then we're gonna hit it with some meat, some mozzarella cheese, and we're gonna keep doing that till we get to the very top. It's gonna take us about 3 layers to get there. So you're gonna have 3 layers of the plantain, the ricotta cheese, the meat mixture, the mozzarella cheese, and you always wanna end on the top with the mozzarella cheese so that you don't dry out any of the ingredients when it's being cooked. Plus, you want that golden, beautiful, cheesy, gooey, ooey top. And you will probably end up with a little bit of meat left over. That's okay. If you're using a bigger pan and you're only making one, you're not like you're doing it in the oven, I'm doing it in the air fryer, then you probably have way more than enough meat to do a large pan. I was only cooking for 6 people, so that's how I did it. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna layer that up with our mozzarella, and then it's just repeat. We're gonna go back in after we push that down nice and firm. We're gonna put in the plantains again, add the ricotta and the meat, and then mozzarella. All right, and here is our finished project. So that little baby, man, at least 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds in there, and we are ready to get that ninja going. So let's turn it on. We're gonna use the bake. We're gonna set the degrees just like we would for an oven at 350, and we're gonna set our time for 20 minutes. We're gonna let that preheat. Alrighty, it's telling us it's ready. It's hot. Add food. We're just gonna take and place that right in the center of our nice little oven, and we are going to let that cook. Now, I checked it and we have a perfect golden brown, so I had to put it for a couple extra minutes, so I would say the total time in there was about 14 minutes, and it's still gonna internally cook. And remember that everything we used in it was cooked. So there's our lasagna. Again, this is enough because it's going to make 2 for 2 people. Beautiful. Or sorry, 6 people. So you have just made dinner for $14. So for 6 people, bread, fresh bread from the bakery we ordered, and there's our lasagna, Puerto Rican style. So as always, please hit subscribe, hit notifications bell. Don't forget to give this and all videos a thumbs up. It's a free and easy way. And remember, all information is always underneath the videos. You can eat Caribbean food way cheaper here in the islands. Thank you for joining us for another Cafe Thursday. And as always, we'll see you on the next video.